The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Ponyboy Curtis introduces himself as a 14-year-old greaser who loves movies and books, but often feels like an outsider, even among his gang. Walking home from the theater alone, he gets jumped by a group of Socs who threaten and injure him. His brothers Derry and Soda Pop, along with the rest of the greaser gang, rescue him. Through Ponyboy's narration, we learn the difference between the greasers, working-class kids with long hair and leather jackets, and the Socs, wealthy, privileged kids with Mustangs and nice clothes. Derry is strict and acts like a parent, while Soda Pop is Ponyboy's fun-loving, understanding older brother. Ponyboy, Johnny, and Dally sneak into the drive-in movie theater. Dally flirts rudely with two Sock girls, Cherry Valance and Marcia, but Ponyboy and Johnny treat them more respectfully. Cherry recognizes Johnny from a previous fight and is sympathetic. Cherry talks with Ponyboy, revealing that Socs have problems too, even if they seem perfect. This opens Ponyboy's eyes to the fact that not all Socs are cold or cruel. Cherry and Ponyboy continue their conversation, bonding over sunsets and their frustrations with society. Ponyboy begins to sense that people are not as different as they appear. However, when the girls' boyfriends arrive in a blue Mustang, Cherry and Marcia leave to avoid a fight between the Socs and the greasers. Later, Ponyboy goes home late. Derry, overwhelmed with stress, yells at him and slaps him. Shocked and hurt, Ponyboy runs out of the house and Johnny joins him. At a park, Ponyboy and Johnny are cornered by Cherry's boyfriend Bob and his Sock friends. They shove Ponyboy's head underwater in a fountain, nearly drowning him. In a desperate act of defense, Johnny stabs Bob with his switchblade, killing him. The other Socs flee in panic. Realizing the seriousness of what happened, Johnny and Ponyboy rush to Dally for help. Following Dally's instructions, Ponyboy and Johnny hide in an abandoned church in Windrixville. They cut and bleach their hair to disguise themselves. Days pass in isolation. They spend time reading Gone with the Wind, with Johnny admiring the bravery of the Southern gentleman. Ponyboy recites Robert Frost's Nothing Gold Can Stay, a poem about fleeting innocence that deeply moves Johnny. During this time, Ponyboy grows closer to Johnny and sees his quiet bravery. Dally visits Ponyboy and Johnny at the church, bringing news. He reveals that tension is building between the Socs and the greasers, and that a rumble is being planned. On the way back from eating, they return to find the church on fire, with children trapped inside. Without hesitation, Ponyboy and Johnny rush in to save them. Ponyboy escapes with minor burns, but Johnny is badly injured by falling beams. Dally rescues Johnny, revealing his hidden loyalty and care. Reporters cover the boys' bravery, painting them as unlikely heroes. Ponyboy worries about being separated from his brothers by child services. Derry, Soda Pop, and Ponyboy share an emotional moment, realizing how much they mean to each other. Meanwhile, Cherry tells Ponyboy she can't visit Johnny because he killed Bob, but she still respects his courage and believes in honesty. Ponyboy and 2-Bit visit Johnny in the hospital, who is gravely injured and growing weaker. Johnny asks for Gone with the Wind and admits he doesn't want to die so young. Dally visits too, masking his deep care with toughness. Later, Ponyboy talks with Cherry, who struggles with loyalty to Bob's memory while still respecting the greasers. This conversation deepens Ponyboy's understanding of the complexity of people on both sides. The greasers prepare for the rumble with the Socs, dressing up and feeling proud of their brotherhood. Ponyboy, still weak, insists on joining. The rumble is brutal but ends in a greaser victory. Afterward, Ponyboy and Dally rush to the hospital to tell Johnny about the victory. But Johnny on his deathbed doesn't care about the fight. Instead, he tells Ponyboy to stay gold, meaning to hold on to innocence and goodness in a harsh world. He dies peacefully. Dally is devastated and broken. Overcome with grief, Dally robs a grocery store and calls the gang for help. When the police corner him, he pulls out an unloaded gun, essentially forcing them to shoot him. Ponyboy realizes that Dally wanted to die. Johnny was the only person he closely cared, and without him, he saw no reason to go on. The scene devastates the gang. Ponyboy, overwhelmed, collapses. Ponyboy is bedridden, sick, and mentally unstable from the trauma. Randy, a Soc, visits and tries to talk about Bob's death. He admits Bob had flaws and wasn't as perfect as everyone believed. But Ponyboy insists he was the one who killed Bob, showing how deeply denial and trauma have clouded his memory. This reveals the depth of his psychological pain. Ponyboy attends court, where the judge is sympathetic and lets him stay with Derry and Soda Pop. At school, he struggles with grades and concentration. His English teacher offers him a chance to pass by writing a personal story. Inspired by Johnny's last words, Ponyboy realizes he can share his experiences and begins his essay, starting with the very first lines of The Outsiders, making the novel itself his written assignment. S.E. Hinton's The Outsiders is a landmark of young adult literature that explores themes of class conflict, identity, and the struggle for empathy in a divided society. Written when Hinton was only a teenager, the novel captures the raw voices of young people navigating violence, loyalty, and loss. Told through the perspective of Ponyboy Curtis, the story draws readers into a world where social labels define lives, yet shared humanity can break through even the hardest walls. At its heart, the novel examines the rigid divide between the Greasers, a working-class gang, and the Socs, their wealthier rivals. These groups embody social class stereotypes, roughness and poverty on one side, privilege and cold detachment on the other. However, Hinton complicates this binary. Characters like Cherry Valance and Randy reveal cracks in the Soc facade, just as Ponyboy shows that not all Greasers are hardened delinquents. By emphasizing their similarities, such as a shared love of sunsets, Hinton argues that social divisions are constructed rather than absolute. Another major theme is the question of masculinity and how it is performed. In a world where toughness is demanded, sensitivity is often suppressed. Yet the novel suggests that compassion, not aggression, defines true strength. Johnny's heroic rescue of children from a burning church and Ponyboy's deep love of books and poetry demonstrate that vulnerability and imagination can coexist with courage. In contrast, Dowley's inability to reconcile his hardened exterior with his love for Johnny shows the destructive cost of denying tenderness. The motif of staying gold, taken from Robert Frost's poem, underscores the novel's meditation on innocence and change. Johnny's dying request that Ponyboy stay gold symbolizes the importance of holding on to wonder, empathy, and honesty in a world that constantly threatens to erode them. This lesson not only shapes Ponyboy's growth but also turns into the purpose of the novel itself. By writing his story for an English assignment, Ponyboy transforms grief into art, bridging his personal experience with a wider audience who might learn from it. In conclusion, The Outsiders is more than a tale of gang rivalry. It is a story about the possibility of empathy across divides and the resilience of youthful innocence. Through its portrayal of violence, friendship, and the struggle for understanding, the novel speaks to universal questions of identity and belonging. Hinton's achievement lies in showing that beneath the labels of Greasers and Socs, there are simply young people searching for meaning, dignity, and connection.